Now, I can spend a whole hour discussing this film, but I'm not going to, as there are many other videos out there with deep dive critiques covering this movie. Yes, we all know this movie had bad writing, character development, gapping plot holes, poor direction, and keeping everything intact with the Star Wars universe in respect to the fans and its overall story. But what I want to point out are some few things that you may have heard before. It's been years since the release of Star Wars Episode 7, and still this movie and Episode 8 and 9 are widely discussed about and how these films served and were delivered poorly to the most important people of all, the fans. I remembered when I first saw this movie and walked out of the theater, many things hit me. One of them being that I realized that nothing really happened in this movie in terms of where the movie and its story is going. Just meaningless stuff happens. What's even funny about that is they knew this, so they had the film end on a cliffhanger with Luke Skywalker appearing for 2 seconds because they knew no one would even bother to go see Episode 8. They had to bait us. You withheld the most important character we all wanted to see, and you teased them in the trailers and the interviews. What? This film mostly tries to just serve as a nostalgia piece, in which it failed in my opinion. We don't even get to see the original 3 characters together share a scene, which was such a shame and a crime to Star Wars culture and history. I mean, just to see all 3 of them together again, now that's serving nostalgia. I thought the first 20 minutes or so of this movie to be fine. It's not up until Rey and Finn go up in space and Han's other ship where 2 separate Death Gangs board to kill Han that from this point on, the movie just falls off the rails for me, with never really slowing down to ever explain things or build up anything with its story or characters. I mean, come on. That whole scene with the gang and tentacle alien thing escaping was pointless. Those scenes just dragged on. That's one of the major issues I have with this film. Things are just happening, and when something important is brought up, the film just treats it like it's not important at all. Like, for example, Luke Skywalker's lightsaber just being conveniently placed in a chest downstairs. It's like it was the movie's way of saying, just hold on, don't get up and leave. Luke is still coming. We haven't forgot about him. Here's something to hold you over by just giving us a little bit of Luke. I mean, when Han died, I didn't feel any sympathy or sadness at all. There could have been a better build up to that. The setup was so poor, you could see it coming a mile away. I'd prefer to have not seen it coming. I wasn't shocked at all from his death, and he's one of my favorite Star Wars characters. And that's sad. I didn't feel anything for him. I've been carrying this character with me for years, and to see him go like that and not shed a man tear is tragic. The reason I didn't feel anything is because I wasn't invested in the movie or the movie story or characters. I just didn't care. And oh, even then you're thinking, is Luke going to show up here? But
No.
even the fight scene at the end, we thought Luke was going to show up, but
No.
Mark Hamill even thought the same thing when he read the script, but
No.
sorry, Luke, you can't steal Rey's thunder. That's the thing here. The characters and story were just lacking, with no real effort of creating an intriguing storyline or characters for that matter. JJ or whoever, I'm just gonna say JJ, as he is the director. He just stole material from Episode 4 and borrowed the original characters to create a tension surrounding this film and poorly executing them to fit into the movie. Looking at Rey in the beginning of this movie, I was neutral about her and didn't really know what to think of her. As she powerhoused her way through the film, I began to think differently of her, but always trying to give her a chance. But still, she would just do so much that just begs the question, how? Like, how was she able to resist mind control from a trained Force user with such ease? I could go on and on about her power plays. Crazy one for me, though, that I have to point out is how she beat Kylo. Like, it was nothing with a lightsaber that she never used in her life. Kylo is a trained lightsaber user. For Christ's sakes, the man had training. To be quite frank about Rey, there's nothing special about her. Then there's Finn, who at first, I admit, I thought had an interesting story being a stormtrooper and all, who goes against the First Order, and in looking at this film, I quickly realized he served 3 purposes to this story. Number 1, he was the minority. Number 2, he was the comedic relief. And number 3, he was used as a ploy to trick us, the audience, to play the typical turned against hero, but to only come back to save the day at the end. But oh no, here it comes. The twist was for Rey to be the one to save him and to save the day. If you notice, once you check mark those 3 points I made about Finn, he's done for the day. That's a wrap. You can go home now, John Boyega. You served your purpose. I mean, come on, look. Dude had no more to do after the end fight scene but to remain helpless on a medical bed. Sad thing is, Finn's character had some potential here, but nothing happened. He should have been the main character. Anyway, I guess we'll have to wait for episode 8 and 9 to see where they take his character. I like to note that there was a hint of romance between Finn and Rey that I would have liked to see be more explored had it been taken more seriously. But I mean, come on. Wouldn't we all like to have seen that serious approach taken with all of Disney Star Wars films? You know, I personally believe for the most part, that your movie is as good as your villain. That's why it's important to have an extremely powerful villain, someone to make you question yourself, well, how's the hero going to defeat this opponent? That's why I consider The Dark Knight to be the best superhero film to date. In that film, Joker puts up such a challenge to Batman that it appeared that he could not defeat him, and that's what you want in a movie with your hero up against the villain, because that's how you create great tension. The Force Awakens had a good start in showing us their villain Kylo Ren. In the very beginning of the film, he seemed like someone everyone feared and appeared as a huge threat. I liked how he stopped that energy bolt laser in midair. I thought, okay, this guy isn't someone I would want to tangle with. But then all that went into the crapper so darn fast. We quickly find out that this guy is a whiny little emo boy, so over the top, none of it made any sense. I mean, look at this. Seriously, talk about
emotional damage.
Are you seeing this? Okay, maybe you need to see it again.
Holy God, what are you showing me? Come on.
Let me make it very clear that I have nothing against Adam Driver or any of the other actors for that matter. They are all doing their part, their jobs as actors. But here, Kylo is just a terrible villain that's just crying and pouting like a child. How am I supposed to take you seriously, man? Now, there are those of you who actually like this from the character and try to defend his actions, behaviors, and his reasoning with that mumble jumble baloney of, oh, he's trying to be like his grandfather and it makes sense for him to, he was a joke in this movie. Sorry to say. I don't want it to be that way. It's just, that's the way it is. He's just a bad villain all around, never excelling in any area to make him stand out on his own. If you want to do a villain right, that cries and pouts because they don't get their way and is mentally unstable at times, then take a look at the villain Azula, one of my favorite villains and characters from Avatar: Last Airbender. Oh, would you look at that? A character that's similar but has better writing, and she excels in combat, something to make her stand out when up against the hero. It was no surprise to me that Kylo killed his father. Just as Luke had to face his father to become a Jedi, Kylo had to kill Han to prove himself he is a Sith, although it was done poorly, and again, we all seen it coming. Like I said before, I can go on and on about Star Wars: The Force Awakens, but I'm not. I could continue discussing this film, the characters, Han, oh my gosh, poor Han, what did they do to you, buddy? Also Luke, and so on, because you guys get it. The film was an immense letdown for Star Wars fans. I found it to be whack and boring. It didn't have any of that George Lucas childlike curiosity feel to it like I had felt when I was watching The Mandalorian Season 2, Episode 2. Star Wars Episode 7 just had stuff keep happening without explaining or telling a story while trying to be another carbon copy of Episode 4, A New Hope. It's clear to the fans that Disney saw this as a cash cow without any efforts, and that's what this movie serves as. The film that lacked imagination and ambition, something George Lucas brought to the table with Episodes 1 through 6. By the way, I would have liked to have seen a private screening of this movie with that man. Now, what an experience that would have been. I'm just saying.